Thanks, Greg. And hello, everyone. I'm sure it's been a long day, and so I'm going to make this very short. Can I have a show of hands? Who has attended the previous PLP-ESS virtual trainings in the room, please? Ivan, you're disqualified. Anyone from Puma? No? Oh.
I know that some of the MNRE people have participated in the past, but I don't know if they're there in the room.
Oh, okay. So we only have one. Oh, okay. That's very good for me because all of you will be part of our remaining training sessions. So I have been told to come and present and sell to you this great opportunity that is available for you to come and join the remaining virtual trainings that will be undertaken under the Pacific Learning Partnership for Environmental and Social Sustainability. It's really going to help you develop more of what you've learned here as well from this Sustainable Tourism EIA training. And this is all part of the PLP partners, which is SPREP, the ADB, World Bank, and USB. Next slide, Ivan. So just an overview of this program. It's basically a capacity building program for strengthening environmental and social management systems across the Pacific. Jope has asked our participants today what it means, what ESS means to you. And basically, safeguards is the key word. So safeguarding our environment and social surroundings, that is what ESS is all about. When we safeguard those important aspects of our life, we won't get headaches like Fia was telling us about yesterday. So I think that's one of the main things that this program is trying to promote. And I love how Pacific Learning Partnership is included in this program because all of us, we all learn new things every day. We don't stop learning until we die, right? So one of the main objectives of this program is to encourage learning between all of us and make it's a collaboration mechanism that we try and encourage. It fosters training, knowledge exchange, technical expertise, and capacity building, delivers training, facilitates exchange of experiences and knowledge, mentor trainees, develop curriculum, and provide technical assistance. And I love that saying that says collaboration allows us to know more than we are capable of knowing by ourselves. So like Jope was saying just now, collaboration is so important. And the level of our learning and knowledge goes up when all of us come together and we work together and collaborate. And then we find great opportunities to promote our work. And I love it that I'm in this room where I see our Puma colleagues, and we have STA, MNRE, and all of you people. I've come across all of you in my line of work, and it's so nice to come to an environment where I see you and I say, oh yes, I used to work with them. They helped in preparing this report. And that's something that we would like to encourage in this platform. So just a brief background of this program. It's based on past surveys by the World Bank and SPREP, a training needs assessment, and determined regional capacity building needs in the area of environmental and social due diligence throughout the cycle proper application of the EIA process, like we're having this training for the tourism sector, monitoring for compliance and reporting, like what we were talking about with the sister here from Puma about enforcing odor, nuisance in tourism operations. That's about monitoring enforcement of compliance. And then we have environmental and social management tools and stakeholder, very important, stakeholder engagement and social impact assessment, just trying to connect with the people who are directly affected by development. This program is delivered in three specialized streams. Stream 1 is on regional ENS trainings, which uses online WebEx training virtual platform. Because of the COVID, we have all the shutdown and the lockdowns and all these frustrating things for us. So now we depend on this virtual platform. I'm not sure yet if Jope and the team plans for any participants to be here physically, to be present. That would be very good for our local participants. So that's our stream 1. And stream 2 is on-the-job training through mentoring and coaching. And stream 3 is fostering closer networking among the ESS community of practice. So that's just a brief background. This is all based on the successful work that's already been done by the PLP partners with round 1 and round 2 trainings. So the regional training, round 1 was done in December 2020, and that was on modules 1 to 8. And there were 495 participants registered for all 8 modules, and 245 completed the online training evaluation. So for the final round, we need for all participants to complete the online training evaluation. Round 2, that was done in October to November 2021. And those were the modules 9 to 16. Participants, well, 406 participants is still good. And 203 completed the online training evaluation. And then we have our round 3, which is our final round. And this is planned for March to May of this year. And that will be on module 17 to 24C. The details of these final round training modules will be on introduction to the Pacific Regional Infrastructure Facility, that is PRIF, shared approach for management of environmental and social risk impacts for Pacific Island countries. So this is more of like bringing together most of the donors who are undertaking infrastructure projects here in the Pacific, and then talk about the shared approach of how to manage environmental and social risks for these major projects that they will undertake in the Pacific Island countries. Instead of having separate ESS policy for ADB, if it's a World Bank project, separate ones for World Bank. I think this will be more of like bringing together all of these policies and make it streamlined for our practitioners. One of the modules is on Certified Environmental Practitioner Scheme. This is, it takes a look at the Environment Institute of Australia, New Zealand's qualification accreditation scheme. So this is something that we will be looking at as a need to have qualified EIA practitioners in the Pacific region. So we will be hearing more about this from our presenters during this module. It's going to be very interesting. And then there will be a module on the cumulative environmental impact assessment. So this is an EIA that will look at long-term impacts of developments, not only the present, but looking at what's going to happen in the long term. How will your grandchildren be affected by this project that's going to be undertaken during your lifetime? So something like that. So this will be the module that our presenters will be training you on, and it's going to be a very interesting one too. The next one is occupational health and safety for contractor companies. This is more of an outline of OHS obligations for employers and employees or subcontractors. This is very important for our PUMA team in terms of enforcement and checking on compliance with conditions of your DCs, just checking if the contractors are following work safety during works. So this is also a very interesting topic for you to attend and listen to. Another module will be on managing development risks and impacts on biodiversity and protected areas in the Pacific. The other one is on waste management and pollution control throughout the project life cycle in the Pacific. Grievance redress mechanisms. This is another topic. Case studies from projects in the Pacific. So we had a very interesting discussion with Utule yesterday on trying to redress some of the complaints and grievances that come to PUMA after issuing development consents and during projects. So this is also a very interesting module that you can listen to with case studies from projects in the Pacific. And we have some very good presenters for this training. And then the final one, it will be on management information systems to support EIA and safeguard management in the Pacific. It will be delivered in 3 parts. So the first 2 modules will focus on knowledge portals operated by SPREP. And the third one will be dedicated for USB's online database search for research or e-library. So this is all very important for finding out all the helpful information that's out there when you are conducting or reviewing EIAs. And there is a world of information out there that can help you. And then we have our e-mentorship program. I have a photo there of one of our presenters, Miss Jean Williams. She's the Principal Environment Specialist, Pacific Region for ADB. I've attended one of her trainings, and she is very good presenter, has a wealth of experience in the Pacific. And if you attend these trainings, you will be very blessed to hear from her and be trained by her. Hopefully we could also have her as one of our mentors, but the e-mentorship program, there's already been 11 selected and will be matched up with mentors from the PLP partners. It will be for 6 weeks, starting March and ending in May 2022, that's our time frame. And basically it's to improve understanding and knowledge of mentees on best practices for effective environmental and social management in the Pacific, promote confidence of young ESS EIA professionals about their roles and responsibilities for sustainable development, raise awareness of the importance of ethical behavior and professional integrity, to apply best practices and good principles for effective ESS to management to achieve best project outcomes for the people and natural built environment. So basically, this is really going to help you learn from qualified practitioners and help you with going forward in your work in the ESS and EIA area. Okay. Also, I have there one of our presenters, Dr. Hilda. She's a lecturer in USB for the Pacific Center for Environment and Sustainable Development. I just wanted to show you the areas of they specialize in, and they're very, very interesting and very qualified people in our Pacific region who will help teach and train us on how to face our, the daily challenges that we face in our Pacific, surrounding our Pacific lifestyle. So her areas in EIA and strategic environmental assessment. She does research projects on climate change, social impact assessment, environmental management, conservation and biodiversity, terrestrial ecology, insect taxonomy, and biogeography and climate change. And also the team here at SPREP were all qualified, Joke's team, Greg, the World Bank team. There is a good team behind this program. And I strongly encourage you to attend this training. And so next steps, we are now currently trying to finalize our training schedule, finalize our mentors and the schedule for our e-mentoring program, and then send out invites, which usually comes in the form of a web link that our team will send out to all our previous participants and also our members who are in attendance of this training. And then commence on the virtual training and e-mentorship tentatively final week of March. So that's what we're hoping to work towards for this program. And with that, Fa'afetai, Telelava.
Fa'afetai, Telelava, Ofera. Thank you very much. Hopefully that's given everyone in the room a better understanding of what the PLP, the Pacific Learning Partnership is, and ESS, the Environmental Social Safeguards, or Environmental Social and Sustainability, depending on which version of that acronym you're using. Just for clarity on one of the topics mentioned, cumulative impact assessment or cumulative environmental impact assessment. It's not just about predicting impacts for your grandchildren. A cumulative impact assessment is actually looking at impacts from, normally an EIA focuses on the one project. What are the impacts of that project and what are the impacts of the environment on that project? A cumulative impact assessment, quite simply, is looking at the impacts of all the activities and developments within an area. So what are the future plan proposals for that area and how might they impact on an existing development, and how might all the other developments, discharges, all have an effect on a reef, or how might rising sea levels all have an effect on all of the housing and all of the agriculture and other activities occurring in a region. So cumulative impacts is how everything interacts with each other and not just one project. So that was just for a little bit of clarity on what a cumulative impact assessment is. But that was really good. Thanks, Afera. That was a fantastic summary of what we've been doing over the last couple of years and what we're going to be doing the next few months. Any questions from the floor?
Yes, we have one.
Excellent. Let me guess. How do I become part of this?
Thank you, Pedro. Is there a difference between the different rounds from round 1 to round 3? And am I still able to attend round 3, given that some of the modules have been taught at the first round, second round?
Do you want me to take that question, Afera?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so as Afera showed in her slides, round one of the webinar trainings was held back in November of 2020. So we had a range of topics there. What we mostly focused on in round one was the role of stakeholder engagement and social impact assessment in an EIA process. So the importance of proper stakeholder engagement and having good stakeholder engagement plans and having a social impact assessment, because if without a good stakeholder engagement plan and social impact assessment, a lot of projects fail because the community is not on board. You can do a really good, robust scientific study on the plants and bugs and fish and leaves, the types of trees that are growing around, what type of vegetation there is, water quality. But if you don't engage with the public and you don't get them on board and they don't understand what you're doing, even if what you're doing is going to have minimal ecological impacts, it may not be having minimal cultural impacts. So that was what round one was about. And then we had a series of presentations late last year, and they focused more on the use of GIS, the GIS tool, environmental monitoring and management plans, and what was some of the other topics that we finished? Scoping, on how to scope adequately for a project, as well as gender-based violence and potential mitigation for that. Mostly, unfortunately, it was more about like how to deal with it rather than how to prevent it from happening. Unfortunately, it's something that is, for big projects, is often a problem. And then this round of studies I watched, you just talked about.
Greg, if I may.
Yes, Joppe.
Tracy, was there any difference?
Yeah, there are. So each of those rounds were different, had different thematics, and we've recorded them all, and the slides are available on the PNEA.
Thank you. Oh, it's different.
It is different.
So he's asking also if she can attend the final round.
Yes.
She can attend.
Yes. So the webinars are open to anybody that receives an invitation. So when we say you receive an invitation, if you've provided us with your email contact details when you've signed up this week, Ivan will be issuing out the invitations for future events, which will include the PLP webinars.
I have a question. Yes, you say, Farah, that there are 11 have been selected as mentees. So what if some of the group members here want to be included in it? What's the process?
Yes, that's a good question, Mr. Joppe. I think maybe Mr. Greg could elaborate on that, on the answer to that.
Oh, okay. I will try. So from my understanding, that selection process has already been undertaken by the previous World Bank consultant, Mr. Mayai Mapello, who was based at SPREP, and those 11 mentors and mentees have already been identified and paired up. So there is no current round for reselection that is occurring. So it's just a matter now of that program actually kicking off. And I think part of the criteria was you had to be at a certain level within basically considered a junior. So many years of experience, because of the idea being that this is to train up junior staffers, and they were selected from across the region. So there's 11 participants, mentees, and they're selected from across the region. So some from PNG, some from Solomon Islands, some from Tonga, some from Vanuatu. Actually, I don't think there's any from Vanuatu. But yeah, and we had to contact the agencies that they work for and request their supervisors' permission to be part of the program. So if you've not been part of the program this time round, I am sorry, there was only limited numbers. I wasn't actually part of the final selection committee because I'm potentially one of the mentors. So it has been decided, and if the PLP gets funding for another few years, then there will be more rounds of this.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Via, regards to your question, yes, you're welcome to join the third kind of training, and when the links are ready, I will send it to you directly.
And I'm also ready to get the link.
I send that to you personally.
I suggest that you can everyone.
Yes. I'll send the link to everyone here who has written their name in the sign-in sheets. And yeah, you have the option of joining if you want, if you're available. Log in and take part in the sessions.
Might I recommend, because we do broadcast these webinars across the region and for bandwidth purposes, what MWTI has done in the past and from the LTA office is they have actually used the one connection from their office and had everybody in the one room. It just makes it a little bit easier rather than having hundreds of people all trying to link in, because we do have limited spots, unfortunately. We can only probably accommodate up to, what is it, maybe 100 link-ins, Ivan?
Yes, 100. We can.
Yeah. But if we extend it out, it might slow down the connection and we might have breakages. So if you can use the one connection, so set up a meeting room in one of your offices and then have 5 or 6 participants join in, that's perfectly fine.
Yes, thank you, Greg. Any more questions on the PLP-ESS? Still have a fair right here.
Okay, there was something on coaching. Can you talk about coaching? 20,000 coaching. What does that mean?
Yes, so that's involved in the mentorship program, where the mentor will coach and give advice to guide whoever they are mentoring, but not to do their work, but to give guidance and direction. That's what it is.
I think for us in this relationship that we are establishing today, we have SPREP officials here, and we can engage anytime you want by calling us. Of course, we are doing that already. Like for me, I would love to talk with our young colleagues here if they need any advice on what's the AI process. So that is coaching and mentoring taking place at the same time. So I'm here to offer my help. Not for you guys on the other side.
You can coach me.
I don't want to coach you. Thank you, Greg. Back to you.
Thank you, Jobe.